So it's been 3 since my last review video, which is pretty much an entire Fortnite season. I guess I just took Super as a whole off, and I've been really busy. I've been away and doing stuff with my life. So I'm back now, still a little late. We are in Chapter 6, Season 4 when this video comes out. Not when I'm recording, but definitely when this video comes out. But I'm here to make a review and just talk about my thoughts on Season 3. Yes, it's Fortnite in the Big 25, but I simply don't care. In my Season 2 review, I said Lawless was the best season in years. Yeah, this might actually have topped it. I cannot tell which is better, which might be Glaze, and I might be new gen, but I don't care. But the problems with Chapter 6 aren't really from Chapter 6 itself, but rather the audience of Fortnite changing and everything else available in Fortnite's catalog. But that's a conversation for another video, and a conversation for later in the video. I'll get a little bit into that. But for now, I just want to talk about the season as a whole, and how much fun it was, and the enjoyability. So let's just start with the I'm a fire in my laser! There really isn't much to say about the new map changes, except all 3 of the new POIs are extremely solid. I was kind of upset that 3 POIs I heavily enjoyed got replaced, but I think all of the replacements are great replacements, especially Utopia City, which is my favorite out of the new POIs, but I still prefer Seaport City. I think the only problem with these changes is the fact that there really aren't any places you're supposed to drop, which people are complaining about, but at the same time, I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's better to not have a specific POI that grants immediate supremacy over everybody else in the lobby, like Chapter 5. Even though there have been POIs similar to that status in Chapter 6, for example, Demon's Domain or like Crime City, those are all like granting like loot and sometimes medallions, but this time around, they aren't game winning. Like, they aren't gonna make you win the game just like that. Last season was an example of just the whole map thing being bad, because all of the POIs suck so much ass except for one, which was still practically useless. But this map is staying good. It's really big, but it's the least important part of my review. So let's head over to the main part, which is...
If you win this, I'll give you $100.
Unlike last season's Star Wars wet dream of a loot pool with only a couple of standout weapons, this season actually brought what I think was a perfect balance. Well, yeah, we can all agree that the Quiet Place Death Angels running around the map are annoying as fuck, but it's not really because it's OP. It's kind of about how insanely mediocre they are. I never needed to pick these things up. The beast is slow. It does so little damage. It takes so long to kill somebody that is not worth picking up. And you can't even pick up their loot afterwards without disabling it, which wastes a lot of the durability. On the receiving end of the Storm Beast, it's less like the shotgun to the head that was the cars from Wrecked, but more like being stabbed and then bleeding out. I did say it takes a while to kill somebody, but you're still going to die 75% of the times unless you have a car or some sort of really good mobility item like the Surf Cube. It's just a slow, painful death, and it isn't fun on either sides. It's a lose-lose situation. This is really the only bad part about this season. The shotgun loot pool was a little clunky, but it was definitely better than Hunters with the fucking Oni shotgun, and the end of Lawless with 5 shotguns, when only really 1 or 2 are acceptable. I've heard complaints about no scoped ARs in the meta, making us have to go to the Deadeye DMR, which is just, very mid. But instead, if you want to scope, use the Veil Precision SMG, which is still really good. I think no scoped ARs make both ARs viable options in the loot pool. And I do think the Spire Rifle is better, but both are great options and have both benefits and disadvantages to using them, which makes them balance, and not having one AR will immediately grant you the kill. The base boosts were genuinely perfect mobility since the launch day, and yeah, they did do quite a shit ton of structure damage, but that did get nerfed, and it really wasn't that bad in the first place, and the nerf didn't actually outright ruin the item, and everybody still used it for the rest of the season. The other options for mobility were also really solid, such as the surfboard acting like a drift board, which, that's just amazing. the final circle boss that was the Mist Raven cloak thing, but then there was also the Mist Gauntlets, which sucked ass unless it was a full squad running into your box with it. And then the Wingshot Grappler, which when combined with now one of my favorite Fortnite weapons of all time, it became an insane combo. Until they just nerfed the grappler glitch that was in the game for 5 years and just completely ruined this item permanently. But that being said, there's rarely a time in Fortnite where an item strikes my imagination like a little spark and is just so cool that it makes me love the item literally no matter what. A couple examples are Ballers and Junk Rifts from Chapter 1. I mean, come on, Junk Rifts are cool as shit, even if they aren't that practical. The Shockwave Hammer and Rocket Ram from Chapter 4. The Chainsaw from Chapter 5. And the Kneecapper from Chapter 6. The next item that will be on this list are the Kill Switch Revolvers. How could they not be one of the best items this season or this chapter or in the game completely? The damage is spectacular, but the gimmick, which would usually be a downside, is just so cool and it works so well. Sure, you could be shot out of the air, but that surprisingly rarely happens and it's surprisingly hard to do. These easily made their way into the top 3 pistols of all time for me, maybe even the second best ever. And I mean, when you're aiming down sights and you're in the air, 100% accuracy, and you can save yourself from fall damage if you use it correctly.
I got him. There we go. See, I don't understand why it did that.
For me, these are a must-taker and paired so well with the grappler, the base boost, and literally anything else. All that considered, I love the loot pool. However, the gameplay loop also performs amazingly with the new rank system each game that brings an incentive to going out and killing people. You get upgraded loot, and you get upgraded boons, which makes boons the most useful they've ever been. And it just gives you a reason to go out and kill people that isn't just advancing through the match. There was also Superman that you could turn into, which is actually really weak, but it was still pretty cool. Overall, this season's gameplay loop and loot pool solidify it as a solid season. But if everything's adding up for it to be a good season, why are the player counts so low? The problem with Fortnite going forward, and exemplified through this season and last, are 2 things. The first thing is attention span and nostalgia. Now, people say reload is the only reason Fortnite is still getting numbers, even though Battle Royale now has consistently more numbers than reload. They do have a point. Reload is an amazing mode for fast-paced action, and it is my preferred mode for ranked. But I always like BR better, unless the season really is as, for example, Chapter 5, Season 4, and Galactic Battle. The fast-paced, satisfying, or not, gameplay has kind of changed the perspective on BR and any big game mode moving forward. People want to get kills and have fun, and from the looks of it, BR should be the place to have the most fun with the most cool and new, interesting, and revolutionary items, taking the simple elements from the early days of Chapter 1 and evolving them each season. But people claim it's too boring, and claim that it's nothing like Fortnite used to be, even though it's a live service game. It's been going on for almost 8 years, and it has to change. The OG mode claimed that people really don't care that much about Chapter 1 as a whole being back, even though the Fortnite OG season proved that everyone actually did like Chapter 1, which of course is the truth. Everyone liked Chapter 1. But most of the criticism on Fortnite today is based off nostalgia and what they think it is. And when people say that, oh, BR sucks, and then people tell them to go play OG, they don't. My personal opinion is that people miss being young. Obviously, it's been almost 8 years. Of course, nothing will feel the same as it did almost a decade ago. Especially now with Blitz Royale. Like, what's the point of playing a whole 20 to 30 BR reload game when you could play an under 5-minute Blitz game and get 10 wins in the same amount of time as you could maybe get 1 in these other modes? But there's also another reason that Fortnite's feeling could be dying, and it's not just people are getting older, which probably is the main reason, but the reason BR is so boring now is because of bots. It's not ridiculous to say bots might have ruined Fortnite. I mean, they're even playing OG mode when it started without bots. Kinda because the mode doesn't have enough numbers to support itself on this giant map and with 100 people. A lot of games in OG, BR, and even Reload go in order of bot, real person who runs away, bot, real person who runs away, bot, real person who runs away, bot, real person who kills you. You waste so much time wandering around the giant BR map just to get killed with 12 people left in only the 3rd zone. I think for going forward, like Chapter 7 and beyond, they need to make the maps a little smaller or even lower the player count, which kind of fucks up the whole shtick of Fortnite, so maybe not. But Reload should not have bots. For what reason does it have bots? For people who just started? Most people who just start the game will not be playing Reload. It can easily sustain itself with the numbers because the maps are small and the 40 player limit. But anyways, that was a side tangent about Fortnite as a whole, which should be for its own video, maybe in the future. But Fortnite Super continues to prove that this game can still cook up bangers, but people just don't recognize it. I love the comic book style of the season with the futuristic and interesting powers, and there was enough mobility to send any player's ass you tag slightly across the entire map. I didn't talk about everything in this video, like the really cool new sprites, but it's unfortunate that Fortnite is in such a dark spot right now, similar to Chapter 3, but nowhere near as bad as Chapter 3. I think that if Chapter 6 as a whole happened last year instead of Chapter 5, like going from OG straight into Chapter 6 Season 1, the game would be in such a better place, but who really knows because it didn't happen, and it never will. Season 4 looks to be a good season, so maybe we can go 3 for 3 on banger seasons, because mini seasons shouldn't count, because one mini season was ass, and I'm really hoping this Simpsons season's good, but like, come on, it's probably not going to be. But maybe we can go 4 for 4 on actually good overall seasons. So far, Season 1 was a 7 out of 10, Season 2 an 8.5 to 9 out of 10, Galactic Battle a 3.5 out of 10, and Season 3 a solid 8.5 to 9 out of 10 as well. Yeah, I don't know what's better, but it sure broke the Season 3 curse. Let me know your thoughts on the season in the comments, and this is probably my last Fortnite season review for a long time. Maybe I'll make a video about Chapter 6 as a whole when it's done, and I'd like to make a video talking about what will happen for like the future of Fortnite and even games like Fortnite. But I'd like to just not really worry about this and talk about other stuff. Like, I have a couple videos coming out soon that are gonna be about completely different things, and hopefully they turn out good, and hopefully people like them and watch them in the first place. But I'm not sure about that. I'm just gonna be trying other stuff besides this. Anyways, another video will be out soon, so enjoy the day.